There we go. So, well, first of all, anything, welcome everybody to another ITJ Tech Talk. Hope everybody's doing okay. Today we're having a mastering root cause analysis by Daniel Barrera. So Daniel Barrera is a software product manager. It has over 10 years on software product management and product owner experience in several industries. We're going to be hearing from him about this very interesting subject, which is used for effective problem solving. We want to make a small announcement, some guidelines during the session, guys. Just try to use your full name, maybe one of your names at least, on the Zoom session. It's an open session. You can interact. You can send messages and everything. If you feel like you want to send a message or interact, if you have a question or anything, comments, you can raise your hand by through the Zoom reactions, or you can send a message in the chat, and either Adriana, me, Danny, we will be addressing those. And we're gonna send a small feedback form at the end of the session, so it will be really helpful if you guys help us filling that session. And I'm gonna pass the ball here to Gabriel Diaz to talk a little bit about my coach. Gabriel, you there?
Hey, Rafa. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. It's amazing to see you again. And today we are going to have an excellent talk with Daniel. So let's participate. Let's enjoy the talk. And don't forget that all this content, the recording of this session will be available in Mi Coach. And also we have some other interesting material for you to explore in the platform. And keep in tune because a lot of new events are going to happen. So let's keep in touch and visit Mi Coach, please. So enjoy this talk and great. It's amazing to see you all again.
Thanks, Gabriel. With that, remember, guys, Mi Coach has everything. And well, Daniel, your wall. Gonna stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Rafa. Let me share my screen. Okay. First of all, can you hear me well? Did the screen load correctly?
Yes.
All right.
See everything.
Well, everyone here is in for a treat because it's not just a mastering root cause analysis topic that might seem a bit technical and boring because it's actually Disney thematic. So you get a bit of a spicy presentation and have fun. So that's one of my objectives, is that whenever you're learning, you actually have fun because you'll remember it for longer. And that's the purpose, that this is actually a useful, not just interesting or knowledgeable, but useful presentation for you guys. And you'll see that at the end, you will have a couple of tools that you can take and start using actually today in the afternoon. So yeah, you can also, just a reminder, the recording will be available, so you can always come back and review parts if you have doubts. And as Rafa mentioned, I won't be as active in the chat, but you can post your questions in the chat, and at the end we'll have some Q&A section where we'll pull them out and address them. But if you really want to kind of intervene, you can raise your hand. And also I want to warn that I might be calling out people. If you're not willing to participate, don't worry. If you're willing to participate, maybe just at the moment, just hit react with a yes, and then it's easier for me to kind of pull you in, and yeah, make you part of the session. All right, so let's get to it. So first of all, and maybe just quick raise of hands. Who has seen one of these characters in their life before? Yeah, quick, raise your hand. You just go. There's a reaction. Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. At least 3 people. Okay, now we're We're looking for more. Okay, more than 3. Nice. Yeah, I was assuming they're very popular characters, right? So yeah, Stitch, Buzz, Piglet, and Igor. But actually, when I see these names, I have this trauma from the past. I've been in the industry for a long time. And what I think about is actually not Stitch, but the glitch, not Buzz, but a bug, not a defect. Sorry, not Piglet, it's a defect. Or Eeyore, it's an error. And many more. Many people name them in different ways, problems, anomaly, issues. And I'm aware, I'm assuming we have a very technical forum today. So again, raise of hands, who has faced any of this type of items in their past? I would assume everyone. Yeah, everyone. Actually, a couple of you guys wouldn't have jobs if they weren't for this, guys. Yep, most probably. Okay, thanks for your hands. Sure. So yeah, these are very common in software development. Are in actually not only in software development, in hardware also, but also in medicine, in aviation, in automotive, in many industries. So let's say that a very common organization did do a couple of kind of standardizations, and yes, so the ISO helped us with a very good definition that kind of encapsulates most. And it says, yes, whatever is a deviation from a specification, a standard, or an exception is any of these guys. So what did the ISO kind of decided? They just call it 2 types. It's a non-conformity or a defect. So this is super helpful. Sometimes many companies use the names. Sometimes there's not synonyms at all. So I like to go to this definition and say, yeah, it's better to just call them non-conformities or defects. I think defect is what covers most. So what are they? Well, non-conformity is a non-fulfillment of a requirement. And then they say that the defect is a non-fulfillment of an intended usage requirement. So they're not very specific, and it's hard to tell. So I kind of use the more slang to address it, and it's practically mostly processes or standard problems. And defects are normally or mostly product or service problems. And that's how we could categorize them. So non-conformity will probably go into process or standards saying, yeah, inadequate internal audits, lack of training or quality systems, lack of documentation in deliveries. While defect tends to be problems in the product. For example, inaudible seatbelt sounds when driving 12 miles an hour, above 12 miles an hour, holes in packaging that are compromising sterilized syringes. So they're normally more physical in the product or product related. Okay. So that makes it easier for everyone. And well, what's next, right? While we all faced an issue, defect in the past, what's next? And normally us engineers, we go like, yeah, let's go fix it. So, and that's actually one of the worst mistakes. And that's why we'll actually go and I'll teach you a couple of tools to so that you don't go and try to fix it immediately, but actually use them to find a better way. So for starters, let's see how you are as an engineer. Okay, I don't see any yes. So who's willing to volunteer today for our first example? Or yeah, reaction. A yes reaction is more than enough. Okay, no one. Okay, I'll pick. Carlos Ponce. Okay, Enrique. Thanks, Enrique Orduño. Thanks for volunteering. So Enrique, I'll put you this case. You come home, and what do you notice is that your mom opens the door very quickly and is looking very, very angry at you. So I want to ask you, Enrique, kind of describe what's the problem. What pops into your mind?
Okay, so the first thing that pops into my mind is, well, I noticed that my mom is hungry, but I don't know why. So I need to investigate why is she angry, try and figure out.
Okay. And from past experience, kind of what has helped you to fix the situation?
Well, it depends. Mostly you can tell by the expression or the tone of the voice if it's something serious or something that shouldn't be considered a big problem. So, but I mean, trying to figure out by her expression, I would say.
Okay, so trying to read the room. She has a chancla on her hand, so that doesn't mean any good thing. That's bad. All right. And what would you say could be the root cause of her being so angry at you?
Well, it definitely must be something that I did or didn't do. So, what I would do is not assume the blame, but start asking questions. So, what is the problem? What is the issue? And try to go from there.
All right. Maybe you even apply a avoiding technique to avoid the chancla. But yeah, okay. But yes, this type of problems we normally we kind of face them in our life, and they come at us very fast. And when they're business problems, it's even worse, right? You get super nervous, and as you said, it's difficult to think. It's difficult to know where, and you're trying to kind of land on your instinct. Okay, thanks, Enrique. Okay, someone else who would like to participate for our second example. Okay, I know Alan Valdenebro. Alan, do you have a couple of minutes?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Alan, it's very quick. So you have your fancy Mickey Mouse toaster, and you're preparing your breakfast, and suddenly Mickey Mouse is nowhere to be seen. You have a burnt toast. What do you think is the problem?
Well, as an engineer, maybe I'm not using the correct settings for the toaster.
Okay, nice. So
And it's 90% probably I didn't read the manual.
nice. Okay. So your part of the problem is not that you're facing a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Most probably. Okay, nice, Alan. Thanks. And yeah, as you can see, we're starting to see that this problem is more in our kind of expertise area. If we were psychologists, maybe this problem would have been a bit easier. But engineers feel a bit more safer on this one. Okay, and for the last volunteer, I would like to maybe someone who has web page experience, who from the forum wants to participate and has done his fair deal of web page development. Okay, no one knows how to create web pages. That's strange, guys. Someone. Okay, Leo. Yeah, Leo, go ahead. Thanks, Leo, for participating. So, Leo, you are a developer, a web page developer of Disney. And suddenly the US web page shows this. What do you think could be the problem? By the way, you're on mute. You can unmute. Nope. Okay.
Okay, I reach a not found page. First thing would be, let me think. First thing would be to research if some content got deleted recently. That could result in this URL stopping working. Also, I would check the URL if it's if it's not well written, or maybe it's written, but the actual path that we have in the server is malformed, and so that would be like one of the worst case scenarios, because the user might be clicking a correct URL, but on our end it's not well configured, so they're not reaching what they expect. So I would check at that as well. And what else? What else? If this is a content management system, I will check also the content, the articles that got created and deleted, and again check if something got deleted recently that leads to this error.
Okay, a way bigger answer than the previous members. Thanks, Leo. It seems like you're an expert on web pages. Thanks. If I was non-technical, I would have said like, Leo, I didn't understand, but yeah, gladly I did my years of web development, so I did catch a couple of those.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, don't worry. Thanks for participating. Yes, as you forum and group, you can see that Leo started to define a bit more or better what could be a possible cause. But again, I think everyone trying to kind of jump and go into what's the problem. And that's normally the first problem that I would highlight. And a very great company called Ford, I don't know, Ford Motors Company, they invented this thing called the 8 disciplines. And we won't go into detail through all the steps. We actually will pick just one of the 8, in this case, 9 steps, because they invented a D0. But this 8 disciplines is something that actually is very common in the industry and used in a lot of different scenarios, especially in the automotive industry. But yeah, practically it starts with a D0 and it says, well, prepare and plan. What's prepare and plan? It's actually just a small group of maybe directors or people with experience, maybe Leo in this case with this, and say, hey, what do we need to do to kind of gather right now? What tooling do we need and what experts do we need so that we can actually start our first step before triggering anything, before calling people into sessions. And that small prepare and plan is key to start that successful kind of start of the root cause analysis that comes later on. Without that, it normally goes into chaos. Next thing is form a team. Declare who will be engaging in the problem resolution. And this helps keep people focused. Not having focus is actually one of the biggest problems because you're jumping between meetings, you're not dedicating the time or thinking through it, and we need people that are thinking. Once you form a team, and by the way, this team should be of experts. It doesn't make sense to bring people that are inexperienced into a very complex problem. Right? Then they say, oh, define the problem. And this is where I was trying to play around right now with these examples. And it's very important is state your problem very well. Try to describe it, be familiar with it. And in this session, we'll actually use this technique called the 5 Ws and the 2 Hs further in this presentation. And this is one of the first tools that you'll be taking home today. Once you've defined the problem correctly, they recommend to do an interim containment. And it's like, how do we protect the customer as soon as possible? In the case of the chancla, again, maybe some avoidance there. And as Enrique was saying, we don't want more hurt people. We don't want other customers being affected. And then maybe addressing what's the problem with the mom. And maybe chocolate, she likes chocolate. Let me give her some chocolate. Maybe that's a way of protecting more people from mom's anger, right? In the toaster, well, it's not that critical, but maybe not using the toaster would be a good idea. And in our web page, well, we could start thinking of, can we redirect people to other pages, maybe so that the customers don't land on that issue, maybe the homepage, right? And that could be a small action, or maybe just publishing something, right, in our networks, so that letting people know that we are aware of our problem. Those are interim containment actions. And then we go into the identify the root causes. And that's where we're dig into. We'll review the other steps very fast, but the presentation will mostly land on these 2 tools called the fishbone analysis and the 5 whys. Once you identify your root cause or root causes, then you can jump into more advanced steps, define corrective actions, and mostly you're trying to, in this step, trying to answer the question, will the corrective action solve the problem for the customer? Is it a kind of, yep, if we do this, customer won't face this problem anymore, and it is a definitive solution? Then validate corrective actions and implement and validate the corrective actions. So practically, this is where the fix-it Felix actually comes more into place, because these are defining the actions, but this is actually taking action on them. So implementing them, making sure they're effective, making sure everything goes well. So practically, we're jumping 6 to 7 steps ahead when we try to go and fix it. And one of the learnings I want to teach you guys, that we are engineers, we love fixing. It's contain, don't go fixing, go through a couple of steps before. Then there's the 7th step, take preventive measures. That practically modify your quality management system, modify your operating procedures, search or acquire new best practices, and well, whatever is required. This helps prevent the issue in the future or similar issues. And this is why it's my favorite kind of root cause or in general problem solving tool. It's D8 is actually thank your team. Ford started as a very humane company, and I still think they are. And yeah, they thank their team as a final step and let everyone know what was the result. All right. So there are many, this is important. Now we're going into our area of expertise on root cause analysis, and there are many techniques. We won't go into them into detail. And I missed a couple, by the way. These are not all the techniques. Oh, sorry. Here's one that is not visible. There you go. But it's important that you know that ISO kind of officially recognizes this 5. D8 recognizes all the ISO plus this amount here. And there are some unofficial ones that are not recognized. And I didn't have to add more, but there are many more. These are just ones that we're sometimes acquainted with. Today, we'll practically be focusing on the Ishikawa diagram or fishbone diagram, the 5 Ys, and the 5W and 2 Hs. These are more collaborative tools. As you can see, I put a couple of hands. So these two are very collaborative. Most of us work in companies with many people, while many other are tools that are more individualistic, like maybe doing scatter plots, right? A 2D or 3D Cartesian graph that helps you graph things, a histogram of splitting information into pieces. And maybe the presentation will be available to you guys at the end. You can click on them and see examples. These are links to Wikipedia. And you actually will start to see like, oh yeah, I know that tool, but I didn't think of it as a way to solving problems. So this is a very good tool set. All right, let's continue. But this is the big question, like what's kind of the essence of root cause analysis, right? We've seen a lot of steps, but what is the most important part, and what should most of these tools be kind of helping you achieve? So first of all, root cause analysis is a friend you can rely on, and you've always got a friend in RCA. And in general, it's just 4 steps. It's not that difficult. The first step is identify and describe the problem clearly, which we already see that the AT suggests it. The second step is establish a timeline from the normal situation until the problem occurs. This small story that explains, hey, it was working back then, now it's not, that helps us focus our kind of analysis phase into, okay, what happened in between? This also avoids exhaust, right, analysis. The third step is, well, distinguish between the root causes and causal factors, also known, they're symptoms. Right? Sometimes something is a symptom, but but something behind it is the root cause. And sometimes symptoms are the expression of the root cause. So it is very difficult. They actually don't go into detail, or if you read a lot of this, it's symptoms can be root causes. So it is strange. And that's why this tooling helps you on reveal them. The most common one is the cause and effect diagram, and where you're just putting, okay, what triggered it, what's the consequence, what's the trigger of that consequence, and then you start to map all around, and that's how you can start distinguishing between, okay, this is just a symptom. And the fourth step is establish a causal graph between the root cause and the problem. So once you finish, you need to kind of explain exactly how this triggered that, right? And show the map on how you are linking it. It can be just a description, or it could be graphs, or it could be different ways, but that correlation should exist. And that's it. That's how you finish your root cause analysis. Sounds pretty simple, right? But you see, we'll see. We'll actually start using this. So let's dig into today's techniques, the 5 W's and 2 H's, the root cause, the Ishikawa diagram, and the 5 Whys. So let's go back to our OOPS page. And yeah, maybe let's see who wants to participate. Raise hand. You'll just be helping me answering a couple of questions and guessing. Okay. Lilybeth, yeah. Okay, Enrique again? Okay, Enrique. Sure, Enrique, go ahead. So,
Yep, sure.
the 5 W's, it's literally the what, the where. I made here a small trick, but I did 2 whens, the who and the why, and then the 2 H's is the how and the how much. So it's just answering like, what is the problem?
Okay, so I didn't want to take Lily's turn, but I can do the first one, no problem. So the problem we have is we're unable to open a web page, right? That's our main issue.
Okay. Maybe go deeper. What evidence can you take from that screenshot?
Well,
it's not just I can't open it, because as you can see, some things are loading.
That's right. So there's a specific content that we're not able to get, and we get a 404, which is, if I remember, it's not authorized, but that's a different thing. You're completely right. So the page is loading, but some content of the page is not loading, specific part.
Okay, so what's happening? Yeah, specific content of the page is not found. So actually, super good. This tool is actually telling us what's the problem. Many problems don't tell us what's the problem. But yeah, that's what is happening. Yeah, specific content of the page is not found, or we could call it /accessible. And well, we're seeing the error 404. Right. Where do we observe the problem? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Enrique. Don't worry. Well, I'll pull Lily later on another exercise.
Oh no, I was just raising my thumb, but sorry. So what's the question? Where do we
observe the problem? And I'll help you here a bit. I did mention that it's the US site.
So it's on a US web page. I don't know. Well, I don't know if we're using a browser. It looks like we're using a browser, right? So US site on a browser computer.
Okay, it's a X browser. We are not sure if it's many browsers. That's good. And okay, I'll give you a. Okay, Aldo. Yeah, you're raising your hand.
Yes, I will try to help Enrique a little bit. Maybe we can try loading from a different country, similar to Amazon, that you can change countries. We can try that and see if it is isolated to the US only, or maybe it's a worldwide issue.
Okay, from international sites. I'll give you that one. Thanks, Aldo. Very good one. Yes, we did the test. It was a quick test, so that we can confirm it's all from international sites. So if by any chance we have kind of a advanced server hosting around the world, it seems that it affected or our replica servers. All right. When did this first observe? So maybe you don't know, guys, but this happened just today. Now writing today might not be a smart thing because an auditor can come by these evidences in the future. So let's date March 21st, 2024 at 4 p.m. Yes, that's more precise. And well, we know it was working. Sorry, okay. Was the situation normal? So the second one, this is my trick. And this is, well, let's say yesterday. Let's say today, but early. Like someone did surf around in the morning. So at 9 a.m., everything was working well. So it's something that happened recently. Okay, who is impacted? I'll give you one. It's, any user. And we know this, any user visiting the US site. Okay. Why is this a problem or pain? Okay. And here I'll let you know that it's painful because A, users want or expect, right, our page to work. So the users are affected, but companies also affected. So the shopping site is not selling. All right. So how did we observe the problem? Literally just and navigating to any US page. And how much or often do we observe the problem? Every time. This is also important because sometimes problems are intermittent. So what do you think, guys? Do you think this is a very good definition of the problem or stating the problem? And that's actually the first step I was trying to get from you guys when we were looking at these cases. If you see that the answer is totally different, and I was always asking, what is the problem? Not what could be the solution to the problem, because we are fixers. So first step, when you're already trying to dig into the root cause analysis, is identify and describe the problem. And you see, this tool, you can take it today and start using it. The 5 W's and the 2 H's, very good tool. Now it's easy to collaborate because we can all understand the problem. I can send an email to the whole company. The guys from marketing can understand it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty well defined. That's the problem. Okay. Now the next thing is the interim containment. That's important, right? Now we know the problem. It says let's do something. So I'll skip a bit. I don't want to go into technicals. Practically, to protect the customer, we've redirected US visits to the international site. But the shop is not available in the international site. So we're kind of taking care of some of the users. We're containing the customer complaints, but there are still issues to be addressed. But this kind of reduces the problematic that they, or more problems that the company might be facing. So now we come with the fun part where we'll be using the fishbone diagram. And you might not know, but this technique was invented in the 1940s. So Mickey Mouse looked very differently back then compared to today. So in the Mickey Mouse metaverse, it's pretty old tool. And Ishikawa was one of the persons that made it very popular in Toyota. So that's why they call it sometimes Ishikawa diagram. But in general terms, we just call it a fishbone. So again, what is the problem? Oh, no problem. Oh, Nemo, we already know the problem. So this is the first step. State in the head of your fishbone, what's the problem? So US site, content not available, for all traffic. Let's keep it at that. Heavy issue reported at, I'll put just X date, normal at Y date. Right? So you can see I'm able to come here and state my problem. Some people like to just go to the fishbone analysis immediately, and they have trouble kind of verbalizing their problem. So that's why the 5W and 2H is a recommended tool from my end before going into Ishikawa. Okay, so now we need to feel that how to use this. This is a collaborative tool, guys. So this is important. The problem or going and solving it might not take 1 day, but 5 days or 10 days. And it might not be just one engineer, but 15 or 20 engineers from different teams. So this is a very good tool where we can keep track of what are we trying to address and by whom, and start scratching things out. So trying to find the root cause. And if you do this very well, you actually have the root cause in your diagram from the beginning, and it's just finding it. Now the root cause is hidden here. I'll make it available whenever I see we're in a good place. Now, what are major causes? And this is, you need to kind of have some expertise to fill them out. And there are some templates. I'll show you the website crash. So this is a diagram already filled out. And normally you start with the major causes that could be, hey, it's a human. Similar to how Alan stated, oh, I'm the problem. I didn't read the book, the manual. I don't, maybe I misconfigured it. It's my knowledge issue. So human could be a system, could be a domain, it could be a server, or it could be a process. Once you have these groups, then you start asking what could be within that group the problem. Right? So in case of a website crash, it could be, yeah, traffic overload. Someone is doing something bad. Someone is hacking us. There's some broken code. Right? The system is, yeah, we're outdated, misconfiguration, login error, glitches, expired. So you can see this is kind of a tool that is working against our tunnel vision. Engineers normally have tunnel vision. So this just broadens up the picture and say, yeah. We don't know why mom is angry, so let's start putting. Was it dad? Was it the house? Maybe something biological, right? And then you can start putting these things and saying like, no, I don't think it was that. Did he get, or someone missed something, or it was me? What did I miss? Did I take the trash out? So actually we're trying to figure it out in our heads, but this is a collaborative tool. What you're thinking, most probably other people are not reading from your mind. So putting it in paper is super important. And obviously you need to do a brainstorming session for it. Here's an example of the same fishbone used for product. So when you're trying to, low customer interest, that's the problem. It's a very ambiguous problem, but it could be the product, it could be a placement of the product, could be people, could be a proof, could be a price, promotion, process, logistics, right? You start to find these major causes and then dig in. So this is super cool because it's not just a software issue. It can be used in huge issues like an airplane crashed, right? Or the business is not working well. If you state the problem, then you can go and try to find the root cause. All right, so let's go and dig deep. So Leo, I'll pick you. You gave very good answers. You're a very good expert. So what would you think is the from the answers you already gave in the past, what is a major cause?
A major cause would be server misconfiguration, I think.
Okay,
Mhm.
I would call it server, and it could be
Configuration.
configuration, right? That's a possible cause. Okay,
Mhm.
let's stick with server. Let's try to at least have 3.
Okay,
What else
configuration.
have servers that could cause it?
Server. Sometimes
Okay, maybe
server
what you think. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
updates.
Update. So okay, so software update. Okay, Aldo, you raise your hand. Anyone can participate. By the way, it is a brainstorming session. So go ahead, Aldo.
Yeah, maybe the server just crashed.
Okay, so the server that has that contents crash, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't mean your whole website is one server. Maybe it's distributed. So unavailable. Okay. Now you can see server is a big topic. We
Mhm.
could maybe call it server. Why could be a server being
Well,
unavailability, right?
something related to server that is not directly server could be network, I think.
Network.
Yeah, and network and maybe database or content, like as another major group. But what talking about network, I am thinking about connection issues.
Okay, Dylan, you have your hand up.
Yeah, something that I have in mind is sometimes when it's a code change, maybe you can add more parameters to the link. And also if you are not sending these parameters could impact the page content.
Okay, URL structure variables. That's yep.
Through the chat, Antonio Huerta is saying, what about the ports? Sometimes after an update, they're blocked.
Yeah, server ports. That's also major. So misconfiguration of a partner. Unavailable could be misconfiguration. Yeah, and nice. I think we have a very good group of backend guys that know servers physically and software guys that know about upgrades and configurations. Okay. So you see now we're getting somewhere, right? Maybe okay. Maybe Rafa, can you just mention a couple?
Manuel Ramirez says loss of an IP address or MAC address. It could also be a cache missed configuration, which is also true for the server. I can think of a few different ones.
Cache. Okay. 1 sec. Let me just. Cache has, and I'll give you guys kind of a pointer. It's not just cache. I don't know what's the term for it, but it could be the cache, but also the VPN, something with a VPN, or it could actually be something with the
Well,
DNS.
In VPN, wouldn't be VPN inside network since it's a network issue.
Okay,
How
you're the
about?
expert. You tell me.
Yeah. Dylan, Aldo, Alfredo.
Well, sorry. But something that happened to me in previous companies or the service provider had issues. So it was not the company's issue, it was a third-party issue.
Oh
In this
yeah,
case, could be the cloud provider or the internet service provider causing issues.
That's also true.
Cloud provider, your internet provider, and you mentioned another one?
Just the cloud provider, or well, the ISP is the internet service provider.
Yeah, it's this guy. Okay.
Yeah.
and also if you are if you are using an iframe or something like this from a third-party web page or something like that, maybe the content is not being displayed because this third-party provider.
Right.
Enrique Orduño says, what if user is using a VPN from an unauthorized region? Could also be that.
Hi, for the database, maybe some registry deleted that are not found in the request.
Okay, very participate. Sorry, again, can you repeat?
For the database side,
Uh-huh.
some registry deleted,
Okay.
some resource deleted.
Okay, I'll stop just there. Thanks, guys. And I'm going to introduce now the second tool called the 5 whys. Because as you can see, we're kind of just broadening up, and practically we're just involving now hardware teams. We will need to contact the, right? It's so broad now that where do we start? So the 5 whys will actually start making us think better. And let me show you, okay, let me reshare again now with sound. And if you're using headphones, I would recommend just put your volume a bit down. Sometimes it's just too high. And I'm going to play this small video that practically explains the 5 why strategy really easy.
Papa, can we play outside?
No,
Why?
because it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's too early.
Why?
The sun hasn't come up yet.
Why?
Because the sun comes up later.
Why?
Well, the Earth goes around, and when it turns a certain amount, the sun shows on the horizon.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Why don't you know, Papa?
Because I didn't pay attention in school, okay? I didn't listen in class.
So now you get the idea. The 5 whys, actually, you don't need to ask 5 times, but they say that by the 5th time, you're kind of going close, or you're close to the root cause. You can ask 6 or more times. And this is a tool that actually was very popular in journalism schools in 1913, so it's a very old tool also. Now, there are some warnings, and this is like, when should you stop asking why? And the last why practically should be a point at, or should point at the process that is not working well, or does not exist. And also important is avoid answers. Oh, that's answers of that are out of your control. For example, people that are new to 5 whys, they normally tend to go with, yeah, not enough time, not enough investment, not enough resources, but that's out of your control. So if to be an expert on the 5 whys, you just follow these tips. And one is, don't just ask why, is why did the process fail? Or what's the problem in the process? Why? So that's where you'll see that we'll start having different answers. So for example, let's go with this one. Why is the structure or variable URL, right, wrong? What process did we fail? Rafa, yeah.
Learning to type correctly. Sometimes,
Exactly.
I have like, I'm always trying to type really quickly, so sometimes I just hit the wrong keys.
Okay, that could be, but it could be not on the user side. Most users are having the problem. What could be an internal process? Again, it's not out of it. It should be in our control. So that's not a valid why. It's why is the URL wrong on our end? And what process did we fail if it's wrong? Okay. I know I'm short in time for this session. I wanted to go deeper and deeper, but you can see that I'm challenging you guys. And that's the kind of the strength of this tool. Using the 5 whys and the fish will start kind of making people think and go. And that's where you can start saying, okay, you go investigate this. You server guys, go and check if the ports are healthy. URL guys, confirm that URLs are working well. Ports, servers, did an upgrade happen in the last 8 hours? Right? And those maybe are quick answers, and those investigations we can start scratching things out and saying, yep, that's not it. And by the way, you can create more branches out of any of this, as many as you need. And you can search for more fishbone diagrams, and yeah. So I'll be a bit I'll reveal the problem root cause here. So let me just remove it for you guys. And this could have taken us a couple of days, right? So practically someone finds that, and we got it, we were going there, URL, that's why I chose that one. So you see, we had it in our fish. It just, we needed more time to find it. But our site recently upgraded to a new feature called the socket secure socket layer. So now pages are not HTTP, but HTTPS. And so you'll see, right? So mainly the internal URLs in the code were defined as HTTP and the URL, and not as / example. So it was an internal problem, and users, as you were mentioning, were clicking correctly in links, but they were not working. So every time something tried to load, it kind of followed our internal definition, and it says, yeah, that page doesn't exist, and that's why you're not getting into the content. But some other parts, maybe the style sheets were stored in another place, and they were not facing, or the URLs were relative. And again, now we find the technical problem, but this is not as a process. Again, the tool is asking you to find the process. The 5 whys is going deeper into what process did we fail? And this is where experts in this topic continue asking, and why is that? Like, why is that there? Why are we using that? And there could be 2 possible causes that would have shown here. And it's one, yes, why did we upgrade to HTTPS and no one knew? That's one root cause. And why are we using relative URLs instead of dynamics? There is a best practice out there. So we're failing a best practice, we're failing a process, or we don't have it defined. And this is how you get to the root cause. I know we engineers are focused more on, no, let's fix the technical issue. But again, root cause analysis goes on, okay, what's the real cause on that generated the problem? And would us not having this type of practices provoke more problems like this in the future? Yes. And then you start putting like, okay, we should automate, we should have something, we should have dynamic URLs where they get constructed so that we don't have human errors all the time when we're writing. Rafa, you were right. Somewhere we made the problem, the humans, not the machine. And there should be maybe a system that checks automatically, that's screening through our URLs and making sure everything is well done. And that's a process. We're missing that process. We're missing that automation. Okay, right. So those are the tools, and I'll just continue to two very fast topics. Again, these are not root cause analysis tools anymore, but these are kind of the steps. And one is the cost benefit analysis. I highly recommend. There's no charts or things doing, but it's just going through seeing, hey, would it make sense to do that automation? Does the cost and benefit balance themselves, or should we go and do this? But first of all, is you need to answer, did you nail the root causes and the apparent root causes? Did you finish your fishbone? Did you do the job? Are you sure? Once you're sure, then you can go and start discussing the cost benefit of addressing things. Also, right, we can go and say, okay, let's fix the URLs, but what's the cost of not doing the best practice of dynamic, right? And we have two options. We can go with relative URLs or go with dynamics. What's the cost in time? What's the cost in lives? What's the cost in damage? What's the benefit in long term? So talking out through the cost benefit will actually help you take good decisions. And mostly you'll avoid this phrase, is the cure worse than the disease, right? We don't want cures that bring us more problems at the end. And yeah, thinking of what are the long, short-term consequences of taking one of these actions. That's practically just going through cost and benefit analysis. And finally, there's this other cool tool that should be used afterwards, and you can take it. It's called the bow tie. So you can remember it from Mimi's bow. And it just looks like a bow. And well, web page not available. So we were cost benefit, the root cause. You're talking about how to mitigate the problem right now. But you're thinking of the consequences of not doing those mitigations, and real consequences like loss of funds, loss of certifications, maybe lost reputation damage to the company. So this tool helps you kind of the next steps, and how to put preventive actions. So, what threats do we find, right? So it could be a migration, it could be updates, as we were saying, new security protocols, and how do we put controls so that we don't land in this problem again? And that's doing practically in Dexcom, we have a CAPA. It's a corrective action, preventive action, and that just ends with the last step saying, did the actions actually did pay off, and did we validate what we were going to do? Did we follow the process, the new practice? How are we evidencing it during a 6 months period? Did we actually avoid any issues? Is it being effective? And all of that. And this is where I finish. Sorry, I went a bit over time, guys, but yeah. Thank you, Rafa.
Questions? Oh, no problem. Great presentation, by the way. Anybody has any questions? If not, I will launch a small poll of 6 questions. You guys will help us a lot by answering that small poll. You guys should see it now.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm gonna stop the recording right now. Great presentation, Danny.
And fun fact, I wish I would do a better presentation, honestly, but I'm actually going through a root cause analysis in my job, and it's very painful. And it was good that I refreshed many of this because I'm applying some concepts. So yeah, thank you guys.